I know what you're doing right now. You're feeding that addiction you can't resist, that urge that keeps getting stronger and stronger. Oh, I'm not judging you, because like you, I need my daily fill too. Yeah, I'm not flying. I'm watching paramotor videos on YouTube. Every day we look to see if there's something new from Kyle O'Glee, Tucker Gott, Mark Honeycutt, and so many others. And when we've caught up on all the newest videos, we fall back and rewatch all the old videos again and again and again. And why? Because it's our addiction. We can't get enough of paramotors. So from the first time I heard about powered paragliding to the time that I finally started training was probably about 5 months. In all that time, I watched every video that I could have seen, and one person kept popping up in my video feeds. Kurt Pfister of Flight Junkies. I think Kurt's videos really appeal to people that are thinking about coming into the sport because he stands by a tagline of free training, unlimited free training. And that's very appealing. He also talks about that if you go to another school, there could be a long waiting list. And of course, I did my due diligence. I called a couple schools, and to my frustration, there was at that time a long waiting list to get in for training. And with Kurt, I could get in right away. He, in his videos, talks about the Fresh Breeze product, and in his opinion and from his experience, he tells you why it's the best motor out there on the market. The idea of knowing that I could get in right now and train for free was very appealing to someone who really didn't know anybody else in the sport. After months of studying Kurt's videos, I took a 4-hour drive up to Newton Falls, Ohio to meet Kurt and see his facilities. When I arrived, he was working with one student and was about to make another one of his videos and told me and my son to stand in and be a part of the video. A couple months later, I was back up at Newton Falls getting my training. I was there for only 3 days, and it wasn't until the third day that I made 3 flights in the morning, and at that point, I felt like I was good, and Kurt did say he wanted me to come back and do some more training, but at that point, I felt like I had what I needed to get up in the air and fly. Back at home, I made a few flights on my own, scared out of my mind on takeoff and emotionally blown away when I landed. After 3 flights on my own, confidence was growing until the evening where I flew into a tree. Now I have thought long and hard about why did I actually fly into that tree. Was it because I didn't have enough runway? Was it because I didn't warm up my motor properly? Was I rushing? Was it that I was not taught about rotor when I went through my training? And the answer I really determined is, well, all of the above. And unfortunately, as a result, this is what happened to me. During the next 6 months, I was able to find people in my area who flew and who would become personal close friends of mine. Visiting us one day was a guy named Mike Cotter. I was ready to fly this cold morning, and Mike and I had this conversation.
Okay. Are you worried about anything that might be out there?
Are you worried about it?
A little bit.
Oh, well, now I should worry. Thanks.
Are you worried about being bumped around at all with the thermals?
No, that doesn't bother me.
Doesn't?
No.
All right.
I should be okay right now.
All right. Well, hey, man.
Hey.
PIC, pilot in command. We just want you to be safe.
We'll be safe. You know, if you don't think it's safe, I won't send it.
I say we'll talk.
At this point, Mike shut off the camera, and we sat down, and he really taught me about thermals and dangerous air conditions. From that moment on, Mike became a mentor and a friend who was always a call away if I had a question. When I had a desire to grow my knowledge and begin to learn what I did not know, Mike was the person I turned to for foot launch training. In August of last year, we took off the training wheels, and I was running into the sky. Lots of people ask me where should I go to get trained. To name a few that have been established for a good amount of time, I can start with FlyMiPPG, where Mike, along with his partners Justin and Bob, teach. Aviator PPG, iFly Indiana, Paratour, 4 Winds, One Up Adventure, Wisconsin Flight Sports, Midwest Powered Paragliding, FlyPPG, Team Fly Halo, Predator Paramotor Training, Paramotor Louisiana, and Lone Star Paramotor. One person who raves highly about Lone Star Paramotor is Anthony Vella. Anthony has been flying for about 3 years. He has grown his paramotor-themed YouTube channel to over 6,000 subscribers and has created the Paramotor Podcast, a collection of high-quality interviews with some of the most influential people in our sport. Recently, I sat down with Anthony and talked to him about his positive experience with Lone Star Paramotor. I also asked him specific questions about why he started to fly and what is it about paramotoring that keeps him passionate about coming back for more.
I started flying paramotors because I just wanted to get into some form of flying in general. And paramotors are like super accessible, and it does not require a flight medical examination, which like immediately made it appealing to me because I can't fly in general aviation because I've had some spinal cord injuries, and I probably could, but it would be a ton of work, a ton of money. And so when I was introduced to paramotoring back when I was a kid, in fact, I was just working at a ranch right outside this house here in California, and somebody came flying along. So that's what showed me a paramotor for the first time. And then once I got out of the military, I found myself in a rough time and thought, now's the time to go and learn how to fly paramotors. Oddly enough, like the solitude is like one of the greatest things. And it's like that separation. It's kind of like a dream state in a kind of a weird way. It's not really like a dream state, but that isolation is what I long for every time I land and hope to receive the same feeling of just absolute solitude. So
I personally know great pilots who have self-trained, trained at schools, and were trained with buddies. So really, it all depends on you and what you think is best for you. In October of 2019, I created a video that really dove into the details of my own training at both places where I was trained, and the differences between the two schools. If you are considering getting into the sport of paramotoring, I will tell you that it is a highly recommended video to watch. Stick around to the end of the video and you'll find a link to that video. So what's next after you have been trained and have been flying for a while? Well then, it's your turn to pay it forward and help other people. Our group of pilots in our area are called the Tri-State Skywalkers. They are a group of people who really look out for each other, help each other, and are there for each other when something goes wrong. We watch each other's takeoffs and each other's landings, and are comfortable giving advice to one another.
Cool.
When we see a new pilot struggling, we try to help them. The other day, I helped this new pilot, Brad. Like myself, he too was trained at Flight Junkies. Unfortunately, in the week that he was out at Flight Junkies, he only made one flight. On this particular afternoon, Brad was really struggling to launch with the winds constantly changing and was ready to throw in the towel for the day. But with a little help, he was airborne.
Well, that wind definitely changed on him, but Brad got himself up in the air. Good job, Brad. Way to go, buddy. You're flying now, bud.
Brad is doing great and is really looking good with his launches as well as his landings. Here is another soon-to-be pilot. Age is only a number for her. And while she is struggling to kite a 22-meter glider, one thing is for sure, that she does not know what it means to quit. With her determination and tenacity, she finds herself successfully kiting the glider.
Keep running, keep running, keep running, keep running, keep running. Release. Okay, keep going. You're doing great. Keep coming. Keep coming towards me. You're doing awesome. Nope.
As for me, I am at the part of my never-ending training where I am learning to safely use a speed bar, get bigger in wingovers, and deeper into spirals. Nice perspective from the ground, but let's see what that really looks like from up there. Some people will say, yeah, that's not for me, while more tenured pilots will say, I have a ways to go. And I agree with them. I am planning on taking a Simulated Incident in Flight course, or SIV, this summer. The SIV course is designed to teach you how to handle unstable situations and incidents in flight. Look for my experience at this SIV course in future episodes.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
As amazing as flying is, and I really cannot boast about it enough, nothing in the world could be better than landing in front of your daughter and hearing her say,
"It was awesome!"
Can I take a picture? Do a selfie with me.
That's my dad. Oh, that's a video.
On the next episode of This Crazy Paramotor Life, we will talk about the influence YouTube has had on our sport, why you should or should not be creating videos when you fly, and we will be getting advice from the man who inspired more people into the sport than anyone else through his YouTube channel. If you have not had an opportunity to subscribe to this channel, you can start by clicking on the circle on the left. In the middle is a link to episode 1 for you to go back and watch, and to the right is a link to the video comparing the two places where I trained. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
You and I can weather